Hey everybody. We have a short and simple one today because we're doing a lot of bags and stuff, but I wanted to highlight Buckle Guy sells these scrap boxes. This is like I think it was a 4 pound box of Valdebrana, and they're just a great way to kind of get to know a leather. They're very usable pieces, as you can see. Today we're going to make a very simple card holder with a little bit of history behind it. Pattern will be in the description, but I just wanted to kind of highlight most scrap boxes. You really don't know what you're going to get. With the Buckle Guy ones, we were pleasantly surprised. I think this was like 30 bucks, and it's like 4 pounds of very usable scrap. Plenty of card holders, plenty of, you can make tons of little stuff with it. They're not tiny pieces. This one was the 4 to 5 ounce, so we're going to dig through and try to find as slim of a piece as we can. This one will do, yeah. So this is probably about 3.5, 4 ounces, and we're going to make our card holder out of it. So let's get into it. So this little guy is inspired by a leatherworker that I was inspired by that I do not think is making wallets anymore. His name is Kenton Sorenson, and he put out a collection that had these sort of slits as card sleeve openings. So it wasn't just from one part to another, it was an actual slit that went around. So I designed, it's going to be like $1.50 on the website, just a very simple card sleeve as a sort of a token of my appreciation to the design language he put out into leathercraft at the time, because at the time it was getting kind of stale, and he came out with that's where a lot of our woven stuff, I started getting into woven leather stuff following his path. So the first thing we're going to do is, the pattern is just this. It's one printout, super easy, but I'm going to show you how to cut out. This is actually going to be cut out, and we need to cut that out before we trace it onto our pattern. So I'm going to use a 1-inch punch, a 1/2-inch punch, not the dangerous ruler, a regular ruler, and a blade. We'll come over to the cutting board, and I'm going to show you how to cut out the pattern itself. So all I'm going to do, these curves, if you want to cut them out by hand, go for it. But the way that I do it is, this is a 1/2-inch round. I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to cut that out. Then I'm going to take my 1-inch strap end punch, and if you don't have one of these, you can make a nice gentle curve however you'd like. This isn't super hard. There we go. Then all we need to do is just line up with our ruler. Be careful, this is a little bit annoying, but the tiny little tolerance here is really what makes this wallet shine. Just do your best to get it if you can. Then once we cut this, we should have the whole thing done in a matter of seconds. There we go. So, if something happens where you have a little bit of, this isn't exactly straight, you can do this and not tell anybody, and nobody will know. The other thing you can do, if you'd like, is you can round this edge a little bit. You can do that by hand even, just to give a bit of more of an organic feel. Normally I would just leave this in the pattern and do it on the leather itself. So that's going to be our shape. Now we're basically just going to trace this on the leather and do the exact same thing with the exact same tools. So this piece I'm actually not going to cut out at all. I'm only going to use it to trace the back. What I am going to do is I'm going to cut this piece out, and I'll show you why in a minute. Now with this piece, it's important that you're not pushing this. You want a nice straight line on the top. So actually what you could do is you could use the second piece, because they're identical, to trace your outline. First, then come in with the piece with the opening here, and very gently, you can always use your maul as a pattern weight, very gently just get ourselves enough of a mark that we can see to cut this out of the leather. Perfect. And there we go. And so now what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll round those corners really gently, just to give a little bit of a softer, more refined feel. Now we can get into just cutting out the main body. And I'm going to use the grid on my mat here just to make sure that everything is nice and straight. I'm going to line up this inside that I can see. Now I know that those are parallel. And this side, kind of the same thing. It all depends on whether your mat is in metric or imperial. But if your mat is in imperial, that's inches, right? Yes. Metric is millimeters. This is a 1/2 inch. So what you can do is, most rollers 1.5 inches. You can line the back edge of the ruler up, and that'll give you 1/4 inch, which is what we need for this. And on this side, I'm going to go light pulls. I don't want to stretch anything or have anything moving, so that our line ends up nice and parallel like that. So the way we're going to put this together, I am going to just simply slick this with some Tokonol, and then install it here, and sew around the outside, nice and simple. But the nice thing about this design, the thing that I always loved about this slot pattern, because you basically just slide your card in and slide it out, and this little lip locks it in when it's in there, is it allows you, if you wanted to use a liner color, to just have a little bit of a pop of color. And it's also a really good way. People ask us how to do like fabric lined wallets all the time, and I usually don't do them because fabric never lasts as long as the leather does. Now, Bagokai just happened to release a really beautiful line of wax canvas. That would be perfect to use with this. We don't even have any yet, but we have some in the mail. And we don't usually use a lot of canvas, but we're excited to work it into projects like this now. But for now, if you want to line it with goat, if you want to line it with whatever, it's a good opportunity to just add a little pop of color that kind of goes away when you put your card in it. Plus you have your nice place for a logo here. So I've burnished the opening a little tiny bit, and I'm just going to slick down the part where the card holder is going to go. Kaylina found the bone folder, so you can slick with a bone folder too. That's the proper way to do it. But I was just using a Sharpie because I couldn't find the bone folder, and it also works just fine. I say that like I'm not appreciative. I'm very appreciative to have someone handing me tools.
Literally in the spot that it always is.
Trying to prove a point that you don't need fancy leather tools. Okay, so we have, this is going to be the back of our wallet, and the way that I'm going to do this is our dry. Let's see. Oh, I can get a lot of yield out of this. See, these pieces are like really nice chunks for just, I'm not trying to sell you on, it's the first time I opened the box. They're nice chunks for like card wallets and stuff if you want to just try out a leather. And they have like, it's cool because they have like more expensive boxes. You can get like 10, 12 pounds, but this was like 30 bucks for 4 pounds to try out a leather. Sounds good to me. Anyway, I'm gonna take a Sharpie. I'm gonna trace out our back part. And I'm gonna do this because I know that the Sharpie is gonna get trimmed off. I'm not gonna use glue on this one. I'm gonna use Ted's tape because that will allow us a semi, it's not permanent at all, but it'll allow us a bond that I can move around to get everything fitting perfect. Because we do have this kind of weird shape here. I'll move the microphone down because I'm down. So I just have to find the beginning of it. So we'll just put a little bit, and we're going to want to go as close to the edge as we can on this. How do you like the whole thing? No, like a pinstriper. What you can do is use your tool handle, really stick that down. I always like to treat this tape like you're putting on one of those those car decals where it's like there's no backing. It's like clear vinyl sandwiched in between two. So you peel off one part, put it on, and then press the top part down before you peel it off. That way, when you lift up, hopefully you have a good bond. Alright, so we're going to want to stay in the Sharpie mark, but you can see how it's going to let us apply this super straight on this really thin side that's a little weird. There we go. Oh, here we go. Look at that. It's like she knows everything I'm going to need.
No wonder I didn't know.
I know, but I wanted to get it all done on one shot. And after that, all we have to do is trim and stitch. And we're going to use the that main thread. We're using this color, the navy, the dusk. I've been waiting to use this color. So, with your trimming, what I would suggest is trim off your excess. Remember, we're not cutting this part out because that's where our cards are actually going to go. But I'm going to trim off the excess. I'm going to sand everything flat. Then I'm going to go in and do my stitching and my final burnishing. So if you use glue instead of tape on this wallet, what I would do is go in with a bone folder and break free any stuck glue joints. But you only have to go up to here, leave this part alone. I use a 3mm distance from the edge to my dividers. That should center you. You could do 3.5 too, but you see how this is very slim. We want that nice and slim. Now I'm gonna have to, we don't know where the Blockbuster cards are, so I gotta hide some card numbers, but I'm gonna show you how this works. Alright, so this is how this wallet works. I'm gonna try to hide, I don't know where the Blockbuster cards are, but take a card, you put it in here, and you can see this lip locks your card in. So that's it, nice and thin, literally just 2 pieces of leather, super tidy looking. This was always one of the ones that I wished I invented. Now, this was never done in this configuration, but I take no credit. This is all Kenton's idea, but he hasn't been in business for many years, sadly, because I miss having his work as inspiration. And when you're ready to take cards out, a little bend, and they both come out. Now, this wallet will hold 5 to 6 cards initially, depending on whether you use it, but if it's veg tan or any chrome tan, you could stuff this thing full like 30 cards if you really wanted to. I like it because it's literally about as slim as you can get a wallet while still having a very thoughtful design language. So thank you guys so much for watching. Pattern will be in the description. Materials will be in the description. I highly suggest if you're looking to try a box, or if you're looking to try a specific leather, check out the scrap boxes Buckle Guy sells. There's a lot of 3, 4, 5 pound boxes for 20, 30 bucks that are definitely worth it. You get plenty of scrap to play around with. Well, that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.